difficult was it hearing that news from the other side of the world and then reading the sorts of stories that came out about not only your daughter's alleged conduct, which you've now refuted, but also about the circumstances under which she was murdered?
Well, first, I was shocked. My family was shocked. We got a phone call at 3 a.m. from the State Department. We really did not know how horrific everything was until we got here and had a chance to meet with the investigating team and meet with the forensic pathology team and find out, horrible details. What the initial reaction was to let the world know that this is not, what was said in these papers was so contrary to, who she really was and what her core values, were, all her life. I mean, she was well educated, well studied, and not, not involved in the drug scene at all. She'd, have a martini at, at a fine restaurant, and she knew some good wines, but this was not her.
Not her style.
Not her style, and it may sound like I'm, overstating, to, try to cover up, that, what was, so strongly suggested, but I'm not. As I sit here and in her name, this was nothing, this was not like her at all. So, it's very important, I think, for myself and Doris, my ex-wife, and all our family to, let the world know that, this was not
not your Gaby.
Not my Gaby.
Yeah.
I'd call her Gabe, but in Spanish I'd call her mi hija, my daughter, my little girl.
Oh. And your only little girl.
Yes.
I mean, looking at some of those photographs that you shared before we started, it really gives one the sense of who your daughter was to you. There's a beautiful image of you two looking out, in silhouette, you with a family pet, you and your daughter at her graduation. What are some of the striking things about your child that you love and treasure and that will stay in your heart even through this very difficult time for your family?
That my little baby, that, how do I say? As a father, my daughters will always be my little girl. And, really what I remember is, that she would call me Papi. And once upon a time, when she was about 4 years old, it was a Sunday, and I got a phone call to go play tennis with. They needed a fourth, and one of the guys I was playing against was Christopher Reeves, Superman. So I said, Gabi, I'm going to go play tennis with Superman. And she looked at me as a 4-year-old little girl and said, Papi, really? And I said, yes. So I came back 2 hours later and I said, sweetie, I beat Superman in tennis. So many years later, when she was about 25 years old, she said, Daddy, I'll never forget that day, that my daddy beat Superman. Oh. And so I feel a very strong emotion about, how my little girl, and maybe all little girls may feel about their daddies. And there's a part of me that is, like I said, I'll walk across the sun if I have to. Yeah. And that's what I'll do. Yeah. To get justice. That's what I'll do.